Good morning, everybody. It's so good to be with you on this final day. How are you guys feeling today? Awesome. What an honor that was. This event was an honor. I just want to start off by, I know it's cliche and we say it a lot, and usually it's just words, but I really, really would love for you to receive and just pull into your heart a real thank you from me, because you legitimized what the vision was that we had. You helped make it real. You validated my calling and my team's calling, and you validated your own calling. And obviously, if you weren't participating, I'd just be coaching myself in the bathroom mirror. So we got to do something really special, and I feel like it was one of really the most important things that we could have done on the planet. I hope you feel a week really well lived, right? A week well lived. Isn't that crazy? We did something for a week. And that thing we did changed our perspective of ourselves. Think about that. I'd love to share with you real quick one thing that I've talked about on our calls and e-shifts, so 2 people here have heard it way too many times, but it's about this thing about how we invest both our time and our money in ourselves. And there's a thing that I've created called A money, B money, C money. And it's really, really cool because A money is just money that we usually spend, and it's usually on things that we use to either get ourselves significance, like if you buy the Lamborghini, or you know, you create parties or you do these things, or it's you spend money or your time on something that will numb you in the moment, right? Like just something that'll help you distract yourself from your triggers or your pain, right? So sometimes for me, Netflix could be an A money thing, right? Things that you're feeling crap, so let's go get drunk. You're feeling crap, let's go party. A lot of us are in this habit of spending our time and our money and our energy on A things, and there's no return on them, you know? And often A money things sometimes have a secret extra expense. Like if you buy Pepsi, for instance, you might actually need to go to the dentist more frequently, right? Or you might need to get blood pressure medication, or whatever. So there's more expenses in A money than even what you're seeing. So if you're buying lattes every day for $5 each, it's not just $5 each, which by the way is like whatever $1,400 in a year or something like that. But it's also you're bringing whatever, you're bringing stress into your body, you're bringing whatever. I'm not knocking those specific things, just hear what I'm saying in general about the overall. When we're doing things that are just to numb something or distract us, it's fun every once in a while, but a lot of us mainly do that, right? So we don't have any money. Well, that's because you're not putting it in things that expand you. Now, there was a massive understanding of what I call B money and B time, and especially with money, where you put your money into something where the money makes money. Like there's a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it talks about putting it into real estate or things that are assets, right, that will go up on their own. The stock market, whatever, things like that. Like that's going to go, like, right? So B money is putting it away and letting your money make money. And that's really cool, but here's the thing about that. You don't change, the money does, right? So your money might grow and you might get like a 10% return. You put $1 million into something, even if it's a good return, you got $1,100,000 a year later, but you could stay the same potentially, right? To me, what you did this week changed how you see the world, right? You invested your time and your money and your energy into changing how you see the world. That's something you can't unlearn. It actually changes your value. And people see value and worth a lot of times as what they have in the bank. Like they say, that person's worth $1.2 million. But there's some people that created skills and have that money, and there's some people that just won the lottery or inherited it. And one person, if the money got wiped out, would still be able to make it again. Like if someone somehow rigged Tina Turner's account and got all of her money, She'd be like, I'll just go on tour. And in like 2 weeks, she'd suddenly be able to fill it again, right? But there's some people that inherit it or just have it in their bank account, and if someone took it, they aren't worth that much, right? They didn't necessarily develop a knowing, an understanding, a skill, right? So to me, one thing I'm trying to bring in and introduce is the idea of investing in yourself, where it changes your value. So I believe very much that everything that we try to deliver, we try to make a C thing so that you change how you see the world, which has to pay for itself over and over and over again. I believe this event changes your value, even just in you donating stuff in the attic or changing and seeing yourself differently, leaping in certain ways. You're going to change your value. Even if it wipes your bank account out, you're going to know more. I'd rather lose all my money and learn more and become different and change my vibrations and my nervous system than have a comfort nest egg and not change. That's death to me. I gotta change. And usually if you change, the money will follow that, and your time and everything, your time will follow that. Like, you'll get more time because you become more valuable. And Bob Proctor said your value also is based on how not replaceable you are. You know, so if you are just doing something that someone else can do easily, then your value doesn't go. But if you're bringing your creativity and your play and your unique voice into it, then there's only one of you, right? And you're not as easily replaceable. And then the world needs what you have, and there's only one you. So your time is more valuable, and you get to pick and choose what you do with it, right? So investing is, whether it's your money or your time, whatever it is, changes you. And I want to just offer you the idea that what you do after here, even if it's painful in the day, sometimes a great investment could be to meditate for an hour on your time, right? That's more than like if you're going to just go to a party with friends that you've been going to parties with forever, right? So things that I believe money could be spent on. One is like something for your health. I believe that your energy really matters. And your energy is based on your health, whether you're hydrated, whether you're also meditated, whether you're relieving stress. That health is a big deal. You can do different things healthier. I absolutely believe in love in all levels, but I also believe that as my body changes, as I, lower my blood pressure, as I create a place where I can live longer, I can have as much energy as my daughter, or close. There's no way, but like it's closer, right? So your health is one. So someone spending, for instance, 10 grand on whatever, something that's just fun or crazy or whatever, a boat or a jet ski or something like that, versus a personal trainer or a nutritionist for 6 months. Think of the difference in that, right? You change on that. Or a skill that you want to develop and become one of the best at, like piano lessons or dance lessons or something that really changes you. Like, imagine committing really, really big time, if you've always wanted to paint, to painting classes for a year where you're doing it almost every day. Do you see that? Like, that changes you. Now, most of us take our money and just put it in upgrading the rims on the car, or, when you get a little extra, you go, we have this extra, what do we do? Let's do something fun. And that's great, but also let's do something that changes us, because then your value goes up no matter what the money does. You become better. And not only that, but you see that you can change. You start to also prove on a different level that you're changeable. Right? That you are, so there's an other understanding that's even bigger, that you are completely changeable, that you're adjustable. And just in doing that, you start to rewire your nervous system to understand you're not that story, you're change. So if you were into piano, ask yourself, what would a year of intense piano lessons do for you? If you're into whatever your thing is, what would a year of really doing that do? And I'd ask you, what would a year of meditation do? What if you just invested energy, investing and time in you meditating and staying committed to it? If you commit to doing that, you will expand yourself. So those things to me are a 10, right? Vibrationally, they're a 10. They expand me. So a 10 to me, you get what I mean by a 10? Like 1 to 10, the things in your house that that are a 9 or below, right? The things in your life, the friends in your life that feel energetically like a 9 or below. To me, a 10 is something that you can see and feel in your body would be amazing, but you usually can't see what would happen if you did it. So when I say imagine meditating for a year, you actually can't see, you can just see you meditating, but you can't see what the results would be of that. You have no idea. In fact, the biggest results you can see are from here in this story, right? Think of how much bigger your connection to yourself is today than you probably thought it would be on the first day, right? The first day you can only picture from that level of ego. So the biggest thing you can see from that level of ego is nothing compared to what you can do if you stay in it, you stay patient, and you keep doing it. So we're on these 6-month calls, and we're 2 months in now, and I'm noticing massive changes that are so far beyond what I thought was coming. Exponential changes, a whole new ton of content, a knowing, surprises from the people on the calls where one's having this revelation or this idea, and they're starting to sprout like popcorn on the calls, like, oh, this and this, and I'm just sitting back watching this thing, and these are things I didn't see was coming. When I started it, all I felt was, I know big things will happen. And there were times in the first 2 months where I got, discouraged, I got tired, and now here we are about to start month 3, and I feel really ready. I feel like it's like it's got its own momentum, and it's saying just stay with it, and now these surprises are popping up all over the place, right? So I say that because the longer you stay with something, at first you're going to go through a lot of not wanting to do it. And you're going against the overall story, even if it's for a couple months, but you're also going to get a lot more results that prove it's okay. The longer you go, the less you don't want to do it, and the more it becomes your habit, the more it becomes you. You get 4 or 5 months in, and it's just everything is magic. It really is. It's just bizarre. Everything, like when I did the long meditation, I started going, it was like after a year, it was just like everything's just, you don't even call it a synchronicity. In fact, you realize everything's a synchronicity. It's just our ego goes, I remember that, I said that, and that happened. But everything that's happening is synchronistic right now, right? Even the things that we can't see, even just this, it's all perfect, right? But after a while, you don't even, it's not a thing. Right? It's just how it works. You just see that as fact. And that happens just from the simple act of plugging into what you are continually. An iPhone can't last, or any appliance can't last without being plugged in. Right? An iPhone can last a few days, and then you're looking at it at 2%, and you're like, oh God, I need a charger. I wish we had that. I wish we were like, shit, I'm at 2%. You would be like, I'd love to go to dinner with you guys, but I'm at 2%. And someone goes, oh, I have a charger, and they take you to the woods, and you just sit, right? like you just wait. And when your phone goes out, you either charge it or you don't have a choice. Like, when your phone goes out, no matter what's happening, you can't do anything. You can't make a call unless you charge it. Humans somehow, when we're totally out of battery, can somehow override it, and that's ego, right? Just, I'm so gone, I don't even know that I'm not connected. I'm going to do everything I can to maintain a bank account or someone's love or people's interest in me. You need to charge up. And what we're doing is just accessing a thing that we all have a right to, but very few people in society have presented that that's okay or normal. So this looks crazy to people that have no charge on their phone. And all you're doing is charging your battery. And we did the most we could in a week, but you're probably at 7% compared to what you could be. Right? There's more coming. I mean, what we did is amazing, and we're really far. I'm just saying, wait till you do a year of this. And I just dare you, before you decide to make any decision on meditation or you connecting to yourself or even just sitting in nature for a while or Kalegoing for a while, don't make any decision about it until you've gone at least 3 full months, right? If you go a month in, you go, this doesn't work, you're not going long enough. With working out, you don't see any results on the scale almost ever in the first few weeks, maybe a little bit in the month, but you feel it's not worth it a lot. And that's why a lot of times people start something, and when they get into it, they get discouraged because it's against their old habit. It feels more painful. It feels not worth it. But you get a year in, and you start to notice all the benefits, and it suddenly moves. And all of a sudden, you're in this place where you go, just charge again, and you start to go, I'm going to get my phone up to 60%. I'm going to get it to 65%. And then magic, as you keep going, it's just normal. It's just normal. Like you start to get completely intuitive. You start to know things are about to happen. You won't believe how many times you'll think of something and be like, there's no way they're not right there, and then they're there. And you just start to know it, and you start to really work internally, and all communication is with the internal, right? It really is. You talk outside, but when I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to the universe. The universe is telling me something through you. Right? And when I'm doing the work and when I'm in this, all I'm doing is internally going, oh, I'm in breakthrough after breakthrough almost every second. I'm like, okay, that means this and that means this. You aren't affected by what's going on outside. You actually sometimes can see outside as a sign of a good thing coming. You're like, oh, like this repression's happening. Well, that's where the burst happens because we'd all be complacent if it was the way everyone wanted. You know what I mean? Like, life will make it dark to make light happen, right? And so you start to see it that way. But you also go, and if that doesn't happen, that's fine too, right? So you start to sit here and do internal work, and you're asking in your heart what this means, and sitting there looking at things from here. But almost all your communication is spent inward. Now, what if you have a codependent attachment internally instead of outside? Like, what if that's a thing? What if you actually can feel a connection to you, and you just everyone take a deep breath real quick and release it. And what if you make your actual relationship first to you, your intuition? Just feel that. We're trying to make an outside relationship happen, but find that place where you go, this calling, this connection, that's my partner. That's for sure who I'm marrying, and I'll never divorce. Right? And I'll get better at connecting to it. I'll get better. I'll build. If you actually take the vows of marriage and say them internally, they work. Right? Till death do us part actually works. Right? When my ego breaks off from my intuition. Right? But that should be your soulmate. That's your soulmate. I don't believe you can, in the same way, just start off not connected to this and make someone outside of you your soulmate. I don't believe that you can do it. I definitely believe there are soulmates, but I believe if you override this and go you, that's codependent attachment, right? And you're both blocking each other from meeting you. And I'm dying to start with you guys, as this is the first meditation retreat out of many, because we're in love with it and we're going to build them, right? I love you guys. I am so excited about it. Like, we really actually found, like, this is what we need. We need longer time to see the unfolding of what needs to unfold and get to a place of magic by moving past 2 days and really going, right? So the team's excited about it, and we're all saying how magic this was. And I would love to start with you, even if we don't talk again, but just meet with me on the idea of us starting a movement where your first connection is you. Imagine the pain that would not only be eliminated from you, but from the world. Listen, if you guys, there's 100, it was with the team and everything, it's around 150. If you guys really thought about that, what you might have realized is the things that Martin Luther King or Gandhi or Mother Teresa, the things that they had, right? The number one thing was constantly their connection to themselves. That was the number one thing. There's a great interview with Oprah. She's on a red carpet, and they say, what's the secret? And her biggest answer is, get still. Oprah said, get still and wait, and stay there and wait. Sometimes you have to go all day. But she goes, get still and wait. And it's the most important message from Oprah. So that makes this a choice. Not can we. That makes it a choice. And when you go, I meditate and nothing happens, that doesn't mean nothing's happening. That means your ego can't identify it, which means really something's happening because ego can't see magic. Right? So if you go, I meditated and nothing's happening, yeah, you're trying to look for it. Stop looking for it. Stop trying to get a result that's forming on its own. That's like putting a seed in the ground to be a plant, and you're staring at it in 45 minutes. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. When's that first start of a plant happen? Oh, it takes a while. But that doesn't mean nothing's happening. That seed is doing stuff. You're watering it. It does this thing. But literally, this moves the same speed as nature because this is nature. This is nature unfolding in you, right? So I think to myself, every time I do an event, and I think it's much more realistic with this crowd because we went longer and access to what I hope for some of you is a point of no return. The idea of what would happen if 150 Martin Luther Kings showed up at the same time, right? That is doable. And when we say that, the ego goes, that'd be great, but I know. And we got to meditate that shit out because it's totally, totally, totally doable. I'm begging you to please choose to commit for a long time. Like, I dare you. In fact, how perfect is it? The May event is there. You could just go, I'm committing to doing this until the May event, right? Because then you can still see there's an end point. You can practice this and see if you want to do it, but you could do it till the May event. If you're going to that, you go into the May event. Right? And then if you don't like it anymore, quit. I can't imagine you leaving the May event after I've done 7 months of this and being like, I'm good. But but maybe you'll find something new, or it'll create a new dimension or a new distraction. But think of how simple that moment was when you chose to do this. When you just said, do I want to, it was such an easy, do I want to, now think of how everything in the life is different now. Think of how that one decision was just the difference of a quick yes or no with the push of a button. And now think of how everything in your life is going to change, especially if you commit to this, especially if you meditate and do this. The entire dimensions of your life, your relationship, your health, everything is different. Because you're like, should I? Or, oh, I'd like to go. But many people just go, I'd like to go. Yeah, but I can't. The entire dimension of their life. This little second that you just think, should we? No. That's the same as, should I take my mom traveling? Right? That's the same as whatever yours is. Should I leap? Should I sing in the moment? Should I sing a duet? Should I, whatever it is, should I say yes to that? There's a massive, massive unfolding in that teeny little calling that says, just empty the attic. There's a crazy different life. There's different health in those decisions. There's different you in those decisions. There's a different freedom. There's you freeing other people. There's helping people get off of drugs and different addictions because they find their own heart based on you doing this. So I'm going to also ask you when you meditate, if you're trying to figure out if you're going to do it, stop being so selfish because it's also for the people around you. And it's for the people around them. And it affects my daughter. It affects your children. It affects the entire future. It affects the whales. It affects the animals on our planet. It affects the trees from getting cut down when they're literally our source of oxygen. They're our source of oxygen, and we're like, well, I'll take money over breathing. Look, we're so weird. We dive to the bottom of the ocean and put an oxygen mask on, and if someone handed us a check at the bottom of the ocean for $1 million for that oxygen mask, we'd be like, yeah, I'll die, but at least I have this check. And you might say no, but they might go, what about $1 billion? All right. How about instead of giving up our life in order to save short-term money or someone's approval, we give up the need for those things to be first in search of our truth in our life. We decide to make our life first. We decide to make life first. We decide to make what life is first. You make what is trying to emerge in you first. It will take care of everything. And when you go, no, it doesn't, I didn't before, were you making life first? Were you committed to making life first for a long time? Were you living in the full dedication of life for a year? Or did you go, why isn't this working? Still not working, right? It takes time. That's putting a seed in. No plant, forget it. That we're so impatient, right? Some people meditate 5 minutes and go, I can't do this. You will see nothing with that seed in the garden in 5 minutes, right? But as we said, eventually that seed becomes a forest. That seed becomes a whole forest. It doesn't even become a tree. The tree's encoded with other seeds, right? That becomes a forest. So you are a forest if you stay patient, if you stay watered, if you stay in the soil, if you stay in nature, and the conditions are right, you will become a tree. And in that tree is encoded its own self-sustainable next tree. And its own self-sustainable next tree. And eventually you're a forest. And then they start dropping like that. That's the results. They start everywhere. One tree comes and you're like, oh, a tree. That's like the first 3 months. A tree. Yeah. But in a year, it's a forest. And everyone's like, I want to work with this forest. I want to connect with you. And you're like, okay, I'm a whole forest. I have fulfillment inside. I'm getting abundance outside. I'm working. I'm creating every second. That is you. I promise that's you. You're an entire forest. And you don't have to get caught in short-term circumstances. Right? As I said, Michael Beckwith said, I'll never forget. He goes, it was like 2008, and Michael Beckwith was doing a talk with me, and he goes, everyone's talking about the economy and stuff like that. And he goes, but I checked it out with the trees, and I asked them about the economy, and the flowers kept just blooming. They didn't seem to care, and the avocado trees kept avocadoing. No one cared. Right? So when your bank account does something you don't like, keep blooming. Just stay in it. When someone says something about you on Facebook, it's temporary, and no one gives a shit anymore. No one cares. Everyone's got shit talk. It's just part of it. If no one's talking shit about you, you're really hiding. Right? Because everyone's shitting on everybody every second. It doesn't have any teeth to have someone write bad things about you anymore. It's just, yeah, that happens. Screw that person too. Everyone's just like there's nothing. There's no... Like, what will they say about me? Who cares? I'm much more scared of them not saying anything, right? You want to change. You're going to change the world. You're going to ruffle feathers of people that are just living as seeds. And they're going to finally be pissed because you're calling out their seedness. And then they're going to be like, eventually, okay, what's this forest thing you're doing so much? It's called Kylego, actually. And it's fun. Right? It's a good joke, kiddo. So that's in there, but really think of how long a real seed would take to become a forest. Really take in that. It takes time, but it's worth it. And I promise you will see results. And all results that you'll start to see, by the way, are surprises. In other words, there's nothing you can see will happen. You'll just be blindsided by them. And then there are surprises in a way where you're used to surprises. Got it. Magic thing, cool. And then you start becoming a wizard, right? You're a wizard. You're magic. I will hold that space for you until I die. You can join me in it. You can hear anything you feel guilty about or you're scared of or you're trying to let go of. I promise you there is a possibility that you can just let it go, that you can just release it, that you can release other things from your past. You're only here right now. That's the only you there is right now. And you beating yourself up for something you did a while ago or you beating yourself up for something someone did to you is not changing it. Just release it. Free yourself. You are so amazing. You're so fucking beautiful. You're so powerful. Thank you. I learned it from you. So I'm just begging you to step into it. And one of the things that we say in my book that I love to say, did I tell the Michael Jordan analogy at this event? So imagine if Michael Jordan, at the height of his basketball career, got amnesia, and he totally forgot who he was. And then he just goes to get a job. So he works at like Applebee's, and he's working as a waiter. And you walk, and by the way, and he's not seeing any posters in any Nike stores or has no idea how to watch a TV. He doesn't get who he is. So he's working at Applebee's, and you walk in, and you know who he is. And you're like, you're Michael Jordan. And he's like, oh, yeah, thanks. You table for two? And you're like, no, you're the greatest basketball player of all time. And he's like, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. Thank you very much. Anyway, I got to seat you. Do you want to sit down, or do you want just the cheese and spinach in a dish? Do you want curdled, aged milk designed for calves to become 2,000 pounds, to mold and sit with some fermented spinach? Would you like a bowl of that? That's a side note that will go on another day. And you're like, anyway, you're Michael Jordan. I just love, you're a greatest basketball. Dude, you should be on the court. What are you doing here? And he's like, I'd love to. I've heard that before, but I'd love to. But I'm working here, and I'm about to get assistant manager pretty soon. Like in 3 months, they're telling me, like, I'm going to get a promotion, and I'm about to get health care. So I'd love to, but I can't afford this silly pipe dream that you keep talking about. And you're like, dude, I promise you, you'll make millions. Do the thing you're amazing at. And he's like, yeah, he's never seen that he's a basketball player. So he's just like, yeah, I get it. That's cute. But I'm just going to go seat you. I'll just seat the next couple. Let me seat you two. And you're like, you're the greatest of all time. Get on the court. And he's like, yeah, that's great. But I have, court won't pay the mortgage, Kyle. I have a rent to pay and a thing, and I have a family that I can't just go step into my greatness. And you're like sitting there so frustrated. That's how I feel with every person on the planet. That's how I feel a lot. Which I will admit is my trigger I'm working through, because I'm like, God, do the thing. But then I'm like, okay, they won't do the thing. They don't care. And it's very nice that they're going to stay small and not be a forest. But it seems like we all have amnesia of who we are. It seems like we all live with amnesia, and we don't get what we are. And yes, it's not necessarily that you're going to be the greatest basketball player in the world, but I promise that you were encoded with something that was world-changing. You were encoded with a unique thing, and it's your unique thing. It's not stealable. It's not something. It's just invincible. And if the more you step into that, the more invincible you understand you are, and that the world can't touch you. And as Marie so beautifully said, they lose $500,000 and go, we're so rich. They can't take what we are. That's power. I'd take that with no credentials, starting off $1 million in debt, than someone who could bring an investment to the company with a ton of credentials, but is vibrationally saying who they are is that money. They're stuck, even if they got $100 million, right? That's going to be a problem later, right? But as you keep being you, I promise you, you won't even be looking for it. It will not stop coming to you. It will not stop coming to you, and you'll have to even raise yourself, and what you say no to starts to get bigger and bigger and obvious. And then in doing that, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So my offer to you is, I promise you that if you go like a year of meditating, if you really allow yourself to follow the things that show up, and by the way, by meditating, I also mean that you don't meditate and then make meditation shoved into the shitty life. You revolve your life around the meditation, right? This is another thing Michael Beckwith talked about, but I can give you a tangible example. You're meditating for an hour, you get into the last 45 minutes or so, or last 15 minutes, you're 45 minutes in, and let's say you start thinking, oh shit, I gotta call that guy. Okay, I gotta call that person, and then I gotta call the bank. Okay, you can feel the oh shit. That means you're not supposed to do it. That means first you're supposed to, check it out. If you are meditating and you feel all these strenuous things that you think you have to do, you are shoving meditation into your same life, right? If you start to feel, I don't want to call that person, and instead look at this part of you that's saying, I don't want to call that person, and get inquisitive about why you're doing something you don't want to do. and don't have an answer on how to fix it yet. You don't have to run right away. New information is trying to unfold the second you feel any stress. Take that in. The second you feel stress, new information is trying to unfold. So it doesn't mean, so don't call them, because that's fixing before you let the new information up. You go, I don't want to call that guy. Get inquisitive inside. What in me is stressing about calling that guy? Is it an opinion I have about that guy? Is it that this is too heavy for me? You just stay there. And then eventually you'll go, either you'll start to go, actually, no, this project I was going to work on with this guy doesn't align for me. Then you start to honor. Now you're revolving your life around your meditation, right? You send them a text or an email or a call and say, I really love you. It's not in my highest to be doing this. It doesn't align for me. Or you go, I would love to work with this person, but I don't want to call them, so I'm going to learn how to delegate. Someone else will, right? If you find yourself going, I have to, and then you do it, and you keep yourself in the vibration of doing things that you go, about, then you are dropping your value, right? So if you meditate and you find something that you think that you have to do, and you don't like that you have to do it, you gotta ask yourself what in you is bringing that thing into your life that you don't like. So you either release it, you delegate it, or you figure out a way to love it. Right? You could also look inward and go, maybe I have a belief about that person, and you have to get to a place where your body releases that thing and goes, okay. And you put yourself in a position where you only do what you want to do, what expands you, what calls to you, not what you think you should do. What you think you should do is keeping your parents happy. If you think you should do it but don't want to, where is that should coming from? That's a voice that's not you. All shoulds are not you. Whenever someone says, well, I should do this, or, you're just talking about how society lives. And remember, society's out of their mind. Like we're going, well, that's the normal thing to do. Yeah, and no one's happy. Right? They're not fulfilled in there. It's like when you meditate, it's like walking out of a pond of piranhas. Like you guys all hate each other on Facebook, and you guys all talk about what's wrong with everything, and you guys all get addicted, and hey, I'm here. That's not what I want to live in, right? So when you go, well, I got to, I should, you're talking about usually what is a voice of the collective crazy, insane consciousness that's responsible for real big problems. Massive debt, hundreds of millions of murders, torture. This is the world that this is the should world, right? That's the should world we're looking at. Well, I should because you got to get a job and you got to da-da-da and you got, yeah, none of those people are happy. There's like 7 of those people happy. And it's usually because they're drunk. They're drunk. That's why they're happy. You're finding a true happiness and fulfillment. That's the most important thing you could invest your time and money in. You. Everything else is just a thing. It's just a thing, right? There's some food that will energize your body. There's some food that will hurt it because you want to get a connection to someone, right? There's some food that will expand or some information that will expand your soul, some that will hurt it. Most of the information that will expand your soul is inside. Almost everything that will really expand you is inside. So another money thing to get is delegating. Delegating to someone else the things that do not call to you. If it is not a 10 for you, even if it's expensive to delegate it, it's more expensive to do something and spend the precious temporary time you have doing something that you don't want to do. Because that comes into your creativity. That comes into your innovation. My friend Glenn Morshower says, if you pee in a part of the pool, you pee in all of the pool. So if you're doing something you don't want to do over here, that comes into your energy when it's time to create over here. So you're stuck and you're like, even if it's like you're tired of cleaning all the time, whatever, or you don't want to do I can't think of how many things, how much less powerful I'd be, that was the worst delivery of that ever, if I'm this guy right now. Think of how more off I'd be if, that would suck too, but if I also did the accounting, or I don't know, none of the designs or the filming or any of that is me. My job, and the team so beautifully takes care of everything else, my job is to walk on the stage and do this. And then give you guys hugs and meet you and connect with you afterwards. That's it. My job is the content, right? But if I was also doing the accounting or something like that, I'd be really, really tired. And I wouldn't be able to bring it into this. And I'd be more tired not because of how much I'm doing, but because I'm doing something I don't want to do. Remember, we worked all day, every day. And at the end of each day, especially as we kept going, I felt more alive, right? So as Simon Sinek says, you can work for 8 hours a day and hate it, and that's called stress. And you can work for 8 hours a day and love it, and that's called passion, right? It has nothing to do with how long you're working. It has to do with if you love what you're doing. That's the factor. I love doing this. I thought I was going to speak for 3 minutes. I love doing this. It's my favorite thing to do, this and be a dad. My favorite thing to do. And by the way, they both need each other, right? They both are allowed. You don't go, I'd love to do that, but I have a kid. No. You need to have a career that involves the energy of your kid, or you make your career because of your kid, or the kid vibrationally supports the career because you learn new lessons and bring it into your teachings. Like, all of it's available, all of it. Don't go, if you're going one way or the other, you're in your head. You could be making a podcast while on a hike with your spouse and get relationship, exercise, and work done all at the same time. Right? So everyone take a deep breath. And thank you for hearing that. And what I would love to do is ask you guys if anyone would love to come up and share anything that they realized about themselves, or have changed or discovered about themselves this week. Is there anyone? I'm going to do you in a minute because we've had you a couple times, but I'll have you in a sec. So, yes. Is it Carol? Awesome. Give Carol a round of applause. But I will have you up. So this is Carol, everybody. She's going to share. And by the way, I just want to say the reason this is so important is because we all had different insights, and you might get more insights from hearing other people's insights. You might go, oh, I realized that too and forgot, right? So it's really nice to hear from you guys what you got. I learned things from that. So this is Carol. One more round of applause for Carol.
Okay. So I had lots of really cool insights, and it's been an interesting week. On Wednesday, I gave notice at my job. Yeah. I quickly turned on my phone, sent an email, and then quickly turned it back off because I didn't want feedback. I thought this wasn't a question, this was a decision, so I really don't care what you think, and I'm going to leave it there. And then I went into all these meditations, and I did a lot of different meditations, and by yesterday I was getting really frustrated because I kept asking for my portal. And it's like, where's my next portal? What's next? Oh God, what's next? I don't know what's going on. She asked for a trip, Egypt shows up. Where's my Egypt? I even found the guide so I could talk to him because I wanted to know where my portal was, thinking maybe he had my portal too. He didn't. So yesterday, by the time we get to the beach, my inner child is simply watching the scuba play people and Frisbee and watching hacky sack, and all of it, I'm thinking, I'm going home without a portal. That's just the way it's going to happen. I called my husband last night, and I said, how you doing? And I was kind of worried because I've been gone, and we've never been disconnected this long, and it could have gone a lot of ways. And he's changed everything. He said, I can't wait to tell you what's been going on. He said, I've cleared out all the rooms, all those things you wanted us to do, they're gone. Thanks. And he said, I bought a truck. Now, he's wanted a truck for years, and there's all kinds of money stuff between us, and And he said, I don't even want to tell you, but I have to tell you because now you've called and I bought a truck. And I said, where did you, okay, cool. He said, tell me about the truck. And he said, I stopped to help some people who were stranded and went way out of my way and just fell in love with them. They're new friends. And at the end, they said, we're going to sell this truck. And he said, really? And he said, well, if you need help, I'd be happy to help you sell it. You know, how much do you want for it? And in his mind, he's like, this is probably worth about, I don't know, somewhere between $15,000 and $16,000. He loves cars, so he would know this. And the guy goes, well, I'm just hoping we get 6. And the wife says, 5. We'll take 5 for it. We just want this out of our lives. And my husband is going, I can do that. And his first thought was, I should call Carol and see what she thinks. And then he said, I don't need to call Carol. I can make this decision without her. Yeah, I knew you'd get it because the addiction is so profound he said, over these 3 days, I have realized that I ask you about everything. And there was something so mundane, like, what should I have for breakfast? And you weren't there, and I went, what the fuck am I doing? And he goes, why am I not finding my own answers? When did I hand over this power? Oh my God. He goes, from there on, I bought a truck. And I was like, and I said, have we moved? And he said, I'm thinking about it. I said, excellent. I'm in. And then I said, well, by the way, you know, I got to tell you, I love you to death, and these TVs have got to go because this is an addiction for me. And it goes hand in hand with food and celebrating with food and all of these things I've discovered since I've been here, and I need help with this. And he said, they'll be gone before you get home. Yeah. So I just want you to know that if anybody else is feeling as frustrated as I was about where the hell's my portal, you may be surprised. Thank you.
Wow. Give her a round of applause, everybody. What the hell? Wow. Coolest thing. That's amazing! Oh my God. That's amazing. Yeah, not all portals are inside. That's amazing. That blew my mind. Wow. And by the way, just as a side note, didn't she deliver that amazing? Like, was nothing planned. That was so funny and interesting. And then she had like a conclusion, like it was a TED Talk, right? So, in conclusion, if any of you are looking for a porthole like I was, you might be surprised. Good night, everybody. I'm Carol. You guys are all becoming legendary speakers over here. How about this gentleman right here? I'm forgetting your name, but come on up, Mike. Here's Mike, everybody. Awesome. I get it. Awesome. Mention that.
I will. Hey, everybody. Woo. God. Just trying to take this all in. This is so crazy. I have, wow, just loved this whole process and getting connected to trying to get to connect with every one of you has just been an amazing, amazing experience. And part of my downloads or intuition all week was to get up here and push myself into this. And I had a huge heart-opening experience earlier this year. And I think it's the result of finally stopping trying to control and fix everything in my life. And I just kind of fell into anxiety and depression and was with that for a long time. And it really sucked. It was really, really uncomfortable. And I just babied it, you know, and I was with it for a long time, and this heart just started to open. And the more it opened, it was really uncomfortable pushing out into it. I had no direction. I didn't know, but I just started to listen to this intuition, and I started to follow it, and I started to do really weird things in my community that I didn't understand, and I started to be rewarded for that in certain ways. And then I saw a weird video on Facebook about EOL, and it started to speak to me. And, you know, 2 weeks ago, I paid for Kyle's videos. I don't know why. I listened to 20 minutes, and I'm like, I gotta go see this guy. And he is narrating the whole process of my heart unfolding and opening, and it is amazing that we have somebody leading this, and it's priceless. It is, and I just feel it so much in here. I've never felt this much power and energy in my heart, and I hope you guys can feel that. I tried to share that with you this week, and it's wonderful. I love sharing it. It's the most powerful thing I've ever felt, and I can't even describe it. I know my life has been changed forever, and it took 45 years to get here. I don't even know how it really happened, but I feel like I have a fucking master's degree in heart opening now. You know, I really do. I feel like I have the power to help people open their hearts, and it's magic. Kara, I actually gave something to Kara for Kyle to read, but I would love to read that now if you guys got a second.
Have another one? Because if you gave it to me to read, I don't have it.
I gave it to Kara.
Oh, you gave it to Kara.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got
so.
it. Okay.
That's the magic. I gave it to her, and now I'm for you to read. Now I got it back. So this came up yesterday in the chapel at just came in. You know, these things, they just come up right now. This intuition comes into our heart feeds stuff to our brain, and this was just like regurgitating in my mind, and part of it came back to me, not the whole thing, but this is a quote from the end of a film, and it says, I guess I could be pretty pissed off about what happened to me, but it's hard to stay mad when there's so much beauty in the world. Sometimes I feel like I'm seeing it all at once, and it's too much. My heart fills up like a balloon that's about to burst, and then I remember to relax and stop trying to hold on to it. And then it flows through me like rain. And I can't feel anything but gratitude for every single moment of my stupid little life. You might have no idea what I'm talking about, but don't worry, you will someday. That was written by Alan Ball, and it's from the end of American Beauty. Thank you so much for letting me leap.
Give him a round of applause, everybody. I love it. How about you with the headband over here? Awesome. What's your name? I forget your name. Christine. Awesome. Give Christy a round of applause, everybody.
Hi. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right here. Oh, this is so lovely. I have to do this. And I could not find a better place to do this than I have to do this, and I couldn't find a better place to do this in front of a room full of such loving and beautiful and supportive people. So thank you for allowing me to get up on stage for the first time and do whatever it is I'm going to do. I'm not quite sure. I think I want to talk about a couple of insights I had, and there was something, you know, that part of my brain that thinks maybe, like that fear, I'm going to go back a channel. I'm going to go back home, and things are going to be a certain way. And I had this insight in meditation that there is no way to go back. When Jim stood up and reinforced the miracle that happened for all of us around Fabiana getting her yes, when that miracle happened, it didn't matter what the outcome of it was. We all witnessed a miracle. We witnessed something amazing happen. And in my meditation, I fell apart when that happened. And I'm like, why am I so falling apart? Because for me, miracles happen here. Little miracles happen, and I witnessed little miracles, but that was a miracle up here, right? That was so huge. And in my mind, that in my meditation, I got the image that it broke a ceiling. And in that breaking of that ceiling, it opened up a portal, and it sent us all, we all just elevated up a higher level. So miracles no longer existed down here. They were up a higher level. And we all together collectively made that elevation. And then Marie came up and spoke. And for me, again, we all fell apart. We all collectively just broke open and fell apart. Because for me, my understanding of love was here. And then after Marie showed us this level of love that was so beyond anything we'd ever witnessed, our understanding of love broke through a ceiling, a glass ceiling, and went into another level of consciousness. And that level of consciousness of love is no longer accessible to us because that portal, that ceiling is gone. It's broken, it's closed. So we can only move now from this space of this higher consciousness, this higher understanding of miracles, and this higher understanding of love. So if you have this fear that you're going to go home and things are going to go a certain way, it cannot go back because back doesn't exist anymore. That piece of you no longer exists. Thank you. Somewhere in my Kalegal was reading poetry out loud and creating a book of poetry. One thing I love to do is look into people's souls and write a poem about them and pull that out and see them. My gift, I've been blind, like my vision is really tore up. My most vulnerable thing was coming in front of all of you guys like 3 days ago with my glasses on. It seemed so simple, but for me it was huge. And so this understanding, I've been playing with this understanding of sight, and I realize more and more like my sight is seeing people in their gift, and I'm moving toward that. And part of that is writing poetry. So in my Kalegal, I talked about reading poetry in front of an audience. I'm not going to read a poem I wrote, but I'd love to read a poem that David White wrote. Does everybody know David White? Okay. Are you familiar? Okay. This is David White. What to remember when waking. In that first hardly noticed moment in which you awake, coming back to this life from the other, more secret, measurable, and frighteningly honest world where everything began, there is a small opening into the new day, which closes the minute you begin to make plans. What you can plan is too small for your life. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your step. To be human is to become visible, Joe. To be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden inside you as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live in your time, is to live in your heart. You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were intended for another and greater night than the one from which you emerged. Now, looking into the slanting light of the morning window toward the new process of everything that can be. What urge is calling you to your one love? What shape wants to seed of what shape of the seed wants to grow and sprout its wings as a tree against an empty sky? Is it waiting? Is it waiting in the fertile sea? In the heartbeat beyond? In the life you can imagine for yourself? In the open desk and the empty white page? Thank you. That was David White. He's amazing. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be up here. Thanks.
Give Christy a round of applause, everybody. That's Christy. That was amazing. Before we go on, I would like to do something. Actually, I'll do you next, Tim. Before we do, though, I would love to actually just give you an exercise so you can hold space for those worries real quick when you go back to other people, different situations, right? So I would love to offer you to find the space in your body that's untouchable, okay? Find a place that even if you get triggered, you can still be with. Do you get what I'm saying? The trigger is on its way out when you feel triggered, right? So I want you to feel this space in your body that is completely the truth that no one can touch, right? And I'm going to say some cliche things that people say when you leave these things. And when you hear them, I want you to just let yourself feel whatever you feel and still stay grounded in yourself. This is how you transcend it, right? In fact, it's really helpful because when you go home, that people that might give you crap or say something, or you just feel like you'll be triggered by whatever is happening in politics or whatever, whatever. You just hear these things and you don't let them touch you, right? But a lot of times people give you crap when you do something like this, right? So if someone says, boy, you've really changed since that thing, right? Let that just bring up whatever it brings up, but you don't have to enter it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a different level of consciousness. And they have the same potential as you, they just didn't enter into this week. So we got to feel love for them, right? It's not a knocking. It's not a judgment. It's not a better than. It's just like they say stuff, and you'll hear people that say that. When you went to that crazy cult thing, right? Let that show up, right? What you got to do is stay grounded in this, stay connected to this, because this is actually the permanent, and you don't have to enter it. So think of a loving response that doesn't enter it. Like, I totally love you and understand you feel that way, but you don't explain yourself. Do you see that? You don't need to get them to understand it, right? If they're open and asking, totally get them to understand it, if they're asking. But if it starts with a preemptive judgment thing and you feel like you have to get out from their foots on your neck, right, to prove it, just let their foot slide right off your neck, right? You're going to this crazy, you've really changed. It's very hard to not say, I know, and you haven't. Because I realized almost every cliche saying, the opposite's worse, right? Oh, they went off the deep end. Right, and you're in the shallow. How's it waiting over there? Someone went over their head. Right, you're still in your head. Exactly, I went beyond my head, correct? It's easier done than said is another one. It's too good to be false. It's a lot of them. So if you hear, I want you now to think of a normal sentence that triggered you before you got here, that you would find yourself either running from or over-fixing. Think of something you can hear a partner or a friend, someone outside of you that usually you see gives you shit that triggers you. Let them come in your mind right now and say their thing. And hold the grounded parent, mother space for that voice without entering it back. Don't figure out how to respond to it or fix it. Do you get what I'm saying? Just let it come in. Just hear that sentence and stay in your grounding. Stay with what's true. None of those passing sentences that feel painful aren't true, but they might trigger something, and if they do, become a space for the trigger, the wounded child that needs you. You don't need to prove it to their wounded child. Both wounded children need you. So you are the light. So you hold that space. Now think of another thing someone else might say. Think of something a parent might say to you that usually triggers you. But now hold that space while you hear those things, that you will be hearing those things at times. And get good at mastering being there for your triggers. Isn't that nice? Like, hear another thing. Hear a ridiculous thing. Picture a thing a politician said. Any particular one, just let them say it. It's going to be the greatest. Like, let it show up. Let it show up in your body. And feel that thing that normally used to run you, that caused you to respond to the trigger where you needed to fix the outside so the triggers never felt. Instead, stay in that magical space for that trigger. Do you see the space that exists that's louder and bigger and more you than the trigger? This is your shift. This is your shift. Someone says something, it triggers you, you don't enter it. Hi, this is the bank. You're $100 million in debt. Let it show up. Be a space of what's real. It's a choice. Stay in the space. Picture someone else saying something that triggers you. Now picture something else someone says that triggers you and be in that space. Breathe into your body. Really let it be there so that it can leave. Now picture something that you used to say to you that triggers you. Right? No one's going to care about your stupid thing. Or, no, someone already does that. Or, you're always invisible. Or, you're not worthy. Let yourself hear those voices and hold the space for those trigger sentences. You're not enough, you're too this, you're too that. Let those sentences show up and hold that space in your body. Do you feel how they can be there, but they don't run you now? They can be there. You're bigger than your triggers. That's huge. You're bigger than your triggers. Is there anything that could still trigger you that you would respond to? Whatever it is, hold a space that's even bigger for that. Breathe in deep. This is the only thing that's true. Breathe in deep. Breathe out. Can you guys hear that fan coming from the kitchen? I bet some can, some can't maybe. Just listen to that fan like it's true. And then let passing trigger thoughts show up and then go back to the fan. Like just hold the space of the fan the whole time. Hear the fan the whole time. Hear the fan while I'm talking. Hear both me and the fan talking at the same time. If you can hear both me and that fan talking at the same time, then you're able to hear two voices. Right? So now you can hold space for any trigger while hearing the fan. And when you're home, there might not be a fan on, so it might be the silence. It might just be the silence. Just hold space, because even if someone says something that triggers you, they're saying it in silence, and silence speaks also. If you ever find yourself in your head responding to something triggered, you just are forgetting about the silence. You're just forgetting about your heart beating. You're in fight or flight because you think that your thought about something that is coming up or something someone said is the same as a tiger. And you got to run or fix or fight. So if you can hear me talking while you can also hear that fan at the same time, you're in your body. Your body can hold space for truth and fear. And I promise you, the more you do it, the faster fear will be gone because you won't cater to it anymore. So now you have, if you really decide to ground this in you, the power and the choice. If you go what you call back to the real world, or what people call that, and you're triggered. And that's a reason why meditating every day is so important, because you train yourself for an hour a day to listen to the fan or the silence. You train yourself that it's a legit thing, that it has powers. And then you start finding out magical things are happening, like your husband bought a ranch or is getting rid of your TV set before you get home. And you go, oh, that silence is legit. That silence is doing things. Do you hear that fan and me at the same time? Can you hear the baby and me and the fan at the same time? Can you hear three things? Can you hear me walking, me talking, the fan? Well, the baby's gone, but can you hear me walking, me talking, me making cling sounds, and the fan at the same time? Can you hear that? Can you hear me dropping a roll, making cling sounds, walking, and talking at the same time in the fan? Can you hear me dropping 2 rolls, taking my hat off, making a wind sound with the hat, a cling sound, walking, talking, and the fan all at the same time? See? When you meditate, that'll happen. You'll hear 10 voices at the same time. And they're all perfect. And they'll come and they'll go. I'm sorry about I thought you were picking up the rolls. She just released some stuff, so. Nothing can touch you. Nothing can touch you. Just continue to study the fan. Continue to hear the fan. Nothing can touch you. Or whatever the fan is in the room, or the silence, or the waves, or the wind. Can you hear, here's one, can you hear the high-pitched ring in the back of your head? Do you know what I'm talking about? What is that, by the way? We all know what I'm talking about. Is that a frequency? I mean, it sounds like a radio frequency, and now it's driving us all nuts because we hear it, but what is that? You can go to that too. She goes, yeah, it's tinnitus, actually. It's we all have tinnitus. I'm here to bring your tinnitus out. So do you understand that no one can take you from this? There is no other world that'll take you from this, because weirdly, this silence also exists in that world. Just no one's paying attention to it. But you are. And you're going to point it out to people by becoming magic. So yeah. So anyone else? How about you? No, don't put it back in. Yeah. Just you can eat it. All right. This is Teresa, everybody. Give Teresa a round of applause.
Hey everybody, this is a kind of a big deal for me. I'm very extroverted, and I started a band this year, and I get on stage and stuff, but to be completely vulnerable in front of everyone in the room, the big thing for me that happened was the inner child work. And when he said, okay, go inside, and what is your inner child doing? And what I realized so much was mine was just raging in agony. And I've spent my entire life running from that, telling her to shut up, distracting, surviving, and doing everything I could to get away from it, and really not wanting her to be there, just denying her. And when I was in that meditation, I let her fucking rage her brains out. She was breaking things and screaming inside of me. And I was able to hold her, hear her, journal about her, have a conversation with her. And now she knows I'm here for her for the very first time in my 58 years. So, because of that, I have just been a victim. I've been needy. I've been needing, love me, somebody love me, please. And I realize I have that vibration. I love you. Thank you, and I love you. And through contact with every single person in this room, everyone that's touched me, everyone that's looked at me and seen me, I was able to receive that. And now, instead of just, cartwheeling through life and getting by on, because I have some talent and ability and, I work. Now it's like I'm not waiting for anything. I'm a leader. And I'm ready now to be an entrepreneur. I'm ready to own a business. And I'm ready to be a lion. And I'm ready to love my little cub who has suffered so much. And now she's seen, she's loved, she's recognized, and now she has a mother that loves her. And in addition, I just want to thank especially all the women, all the men, and all the men in receiving that male, gentle, sweet spirit and love has been what an experience. To get love and hugs from men that are men who are seeking to heal themselves, to be vulnerable. The world needs you, and the world needs you to share that and to encourage other men to be vulnerable and loving and go within themselves. Women need you. Children need you. And I am so grateful to have been here and been a part of this. And now, if I'm going to Kyle's EL shift, that 5, and if I hadn't come here first, I don't know if I would have been ready to receive all of that. But now I am, and I'm ready to take charge, and I'm ready to be the full loving force that I know is within me, because it's now open and ready. So thank you. I love you all. Thank you.
That's Teresa, everybody. That was amazing. All right, here's the awesome Tim, ladies and gentlemen. Give Tim a round of applause.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to draw your attention to quite a cool pattern that I've just noticed. There's a couple of people that spoke about a bit of codependency with their partners, and they went away to a meditation retreat, and they told their partners they didn't want to speak to them for that period of time, or they'd give them some space. And in both instances, during that time, the person that wasn't at the retreat also meditated and came up with some inspirations for their own lives. And the point I'm kind of going to make is about the gifts you give to yourself, you give to others automatically, and it's already happening around you with people, all of you, from what people I've spoken to. And I'll just start with an insight I got at a previous retreat in February and just take it where it goes. And it was, in order to find love, you must first discover love. And that was a question that I made my intention for 6 months. And as I worked through my stuff, using all the great ideas that Carl and others gave me, the idea of the full story, letting it go, the idea of being with all your emotional responses and releasing them. Gradually, I let go of all my bad patterns and got closer and closer to my authentic self. And as I've spoken to all of you, I've seen people at different stages of that process, people that are really finding themselves, people that have some really deep, dark stories to work through. And I've tried my best to speak to as many people as possible and hear where they are right now and just offer as whatever I can for people. And I've told everybody my story, probably in bits and pieces, and thank you everybody for listening. But I just wanted to say it's been an absolute privilege working with you all and helping you all, and you've all helped me, and I can't wait to connect with you in the future and going forward in your lives and see you guys all grow even greater to where you are. And the wonderful woman I told you I met, when I first met her, she was quite shy, and I actually wasn't planning on meeting her the second time, but she saw something in me which encouraged her to come forward to me a second time. And she was a very shy, introverted person, and she took the step because she saw something in me. And she contacted me again. And when I met her a second time, I realized that what she truly has is something that we're all working towards. She's a person who had nothing but love from her family, from her entire upbringing, and is a clean slate in the way that we seek to become a clean slate of all the pain and all the things that we've grown up with. And I'm lucky enough to have met somebody who has that as her baseline, who wants that her bare minimum standard is to unconditional love for people. And she saw how close I am to becoming a space of unconditional love for myself and the people around me. And I move forward into this knowing that it's just with just pure excitement that we can be our own strength and be our own soulmates, as a conversation we had just briefly. We can become our own soulmates and then be strong and write adventures together for ourselves and for others. So I really feel that I've discovered my own love in its purest sense so that I can attract a better love. And just whatever you guys love is amazing, and find what you authentically love, whatever it is, and then become that love. And that's all you need to do, and everything else will work itself out. I really do want to connect with all of you guys and follow your stories when we get the group going, and it's just a privilege to meet you guys, and you're all wonderful, and be love. I love you. Thank you.
Applause, that was amazing. Do you guys notice that people are speaking like they're doing TED Talks? I mean, with as much confidence and research, and like everyone is a riveting speaker. Do you notice that? Everybody's a riveting speaker here. It's really crazy. Everyone's killing it, right? All right. Jose, come on up here. Give Jose a round of applause. Awesome. Go for it. Thank you. Hello.
I want to thank you for the space that you held. Your love is potent medicine for the healing that I've been going through this week. So thank you so much, because it impacts so many lives from here, the ripple effect. And thank you to the team. So, after the Dolby event, I committed to upping my meditation from the TM 23 minutes to an hour every day. So, wow, I did not know this is what was going to happen. But so, and then I also found out a little bit after that the money that my father said there was $100,000 sitting in a bank account on his deathbed. He said, "Go get that money. It's for you. It's not for the cousin that I was going to give it to punish you from not getting an inheritance. I'm going to give it to you." I did the research. I hired an attorney in Mexico, and I found out a little bit after that it's not there. A little bit after the Dolby event, I resigned from my bread and butter business. I'm not putting any more life energy into that. That was a huge thing, but it came out of the hour meditation. I was just like, if it's not my high, and the E-Shift Live. The E-Shift Live and the Dolby event were back to back, and I'm just like, it's not my highest. Don't put my life force into it. So I resigned, and I'm not putting energy into that. And I thought, well, the 100K will give me savings to a buffer So, I'm like, I think it's gonna look like this. And then, oh shit, it's not looking like that. Okay, Kyle. And then on Monday, I've been in a relationship for 7 years off and on, and on Monday, we've been working on our relationship for 2 weeks prior to coming here. And I told my girlfriend, who's an amazing woman, you shit or get off the pot. By November 1st, there's a big context to this, but she wants to have a baby, and she's 41. And if she's not gonna do it with me, if I'm not her highest, then the best thing I can do is to step out so that she can have this baby. And that was scary as fuck, because I love her so much. So I'm building all this picture for you prior to this event, and then Monday night I watched this documentary called The Work, and I've talked to you folks about this at this retreat, which is a really deep men's work stuff that's done in Folsom State Prison. I see some of you have watched it. Monday night I watched The Work. Tuesday morning, 5:30 a.m. I'm on my living room floor doing the work, just releasing primal, like scary, primal past emotional stuff that I've been repressing and my lineage has been repressing for generations and generations, and it's just gushing out of here. And that's Tuesday morning, and I'm getting on a flight at 1 p.m. to come be with you guys. And that's why I say thank you for holding the space. When we did our hugging, I felt so loved. It really was such beautiful medicine, and spending time with you, getting to know you, sharing on the breaks and in the evenings to really show up in ways that I've never seen myself show up before. Because I'm so raw and I'm so cracked open. And then Marie. Where is she? I can't tell you what you've done for me. Thank you for showing up the way you do. It's such a blessing to my life, because for me, growing up, security and safety was, my mother created an empire for security and safety because she didn't know how to have that in here. And I understood that that was her dynamic, and I've been working on the mind trying to figure out how to break that. And then you got on stage, and I'm trying to figure it out, knowing that I need to break the cycle, but not knowing how to break it. And then you just emanate it. Not only with money, and since January, I lost $300,000 in a investment that I had. So there's $400,000 since January. It's just like, pfft. So you're sitting there telling your story. I'm like, what is going on right now? This is what? And I can't compute, but I'm gonna compute because it's my heart that's computing, not my mind. And then you talk about Asilomar. And one of the concerns my girlfriend has is about 41 years old, there's risks. And that was it. Just, I didn't even know how to contain myself. I was having a hard time containing myself with so much raw emotion. I had to get out of the room as soon as the session was over, just in case I just lost it, like I did Monday morning. Sorry. So what I got is what Marie emanated, is security is in here. And I got it. Because when I found out about the $300,000 drop in my investment, I'm like, oh fuck. But Kyle, he left something and he turned around, and look at what he's done now. $100,000, and it was like my muscle. That was, the $300,000 was in February, March. The 100,000 was just like a month ago, month and a half ago, and it's like my muscles getting stronger. You know, it was like 100,000 gone. The lawyer told me it's gone, and I'm like, okay, recovered in like 5 minutes. You know. But I didn't know that I was getting my muscle bigger until you just like, I got this. I got this because of everybody's collective work that we're doing together. But the baby thing, security meant I could provide. And not until I handled having security and safety in here have I been able to show up in such a way to say to my girlfriend, shit or get off the pot, because I've been lingering and she's been lingering. And what I've been lingering about is I don't have the safety and security in here to know that I can be there no matter what. Even if there's risks involved, that I can be there to provide, I can be there to be her rock, I can be there for a baby and not repeat the same vicious cycles that I did in my lineage, at home with my mother and father, that I was so scared of repeating. All the distortion, all the dysfunction, all the codependency that I thought I could never break through. This work is amazing. Thank you so much for providing and holding. There's so many beautiful women here. I thank you, Teresa, wherever you are, for saying what you said, because it's true. It's true, you've done so much good for us. And Mike, everything that you said, it's so true. So I just want to leave you with two things that are the mottos that I've been working on in these last few months. One is the new definition of a billionaire is a person that impacts billions of people. And that's all you guys. We're creating billionaires. We're creating billionaires here. And in return, in reward, you have abundance and prosperity that you'll be taken care of. And that's what I've been working on, is learning that. Focus on having a positive impact and being a force for good. And whatever's numbers in the bank is exactly what I need to continue doing the work that I need to do. So that's the new definition of billionaire that I'm fulfilling into. And finally, the original definition of an alpha male is a man that does good work for his community and is a force for good. That's the definition of an alpha male. So thank you. I love you so much. Thank you.
Give Jose one more round of applause, everybody. Jose, that was amazing. And we're just getting started, you guys. Because I have to catch a flight, I have to leave in 4 minutes. So I'm not able to take any more people. I hope you understand. And I want you to know that everyone we did hear from, that was unbelievable. Like, you were, like, I'm starting to get how good this shit is. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I just wanted to go on a vacation. I thought Asilomar is fun. You didn't realize it changed all your lives. But anyway, it's a cliche thing that speakers say, but I really understand how much the factor is that you did this. Like, take in that you did this, because sometimes they go, that changed my life. No, you chose to show up and took something that you used as a tool to access what you are. And you can do that with so many things in the world. Just go, would it make me a little bit better? Would it make me different? Would it make me stronger? Would it make me better? And those are just choices you pick. And many of us are able to make a lot of the same choices, just some pick the ones that don't change our lives. So I just want to really honor you and say thank you for choosing to make your life better. I can't think of a better gift for the world, choosing to make you a better person, choosing to make you a better change, and to help people around you to do the same. There's no way we can do this without the flow of the universe working through us. And I just can sign off by saying it's been an absolute honor to be with you this week. I'm going to so much miss you and so looking forward to the next one. I can't wait to see you. I hope you come to the next one. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.